This is District Sentinel Radio, the newscast of record for the left. I am Sam Sachs.
I'm Sam Knight.
We are broadcasting out of the well-fortified Sentinel bunker, sponsored by the DSA Accelerationist Caucus. Whoops, here in Washington, D.C. Cut the music short a little bit. I'm Sam Sachs.
You already said that.
Okay. We're off to a great start right now.
It's Monday. Well, it's Tuesday.
Even
it's
better
Tuesday,
here.
But it's basically Monday. Yesterday was a troop remembering day.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since we've actually done a newscast here. And we're back behind the paywall, just you and us subscribers. Us and you subscribers out there.
Yeah.
But it was nice having a big audience tuning in. Hopefully we solicited some subscribers.
Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully we broadcast to as many people as possible, always and forever. I don't know what I'm saying here. I really should have scripted some top of the show banter.
We're not very secure. It's just an unlisted thing. If you want to bring your friend in to watch the show, you can just share the link with them, really.
Yes, and as always, we maintain a list of people we blast the show out to if they can't afford a Patreon subscription right now. And if you have friends who might not be able to afford another $5 right now, but they might like the show, we'll put them on the list. We'll put them on the fucking list.
Put them on the list.
They'll get this hot content free of charge.
We'll get to the newscast. I see some people want to know how the spiky friend is doing.
Interns suck. I forgot about it. It's been such a busy day. I forgot about interns suck.
Yeah, interns suck. Not doing so well here, folks. Look, I'm just going to rely on you guys. Let us know when to just call it for the intern suck here. Let us know when you think it's just dead. Because not looking too good. Not looking too good. And we want to get this Viking burial underway. So just tell us when to pull the plug on this thing. But I don't know. There are
How do you burn dirt?
There are a few little succulent particulates still growing in the dirt, I feel like. So
it's not looking good. It's not looking. Intern Scully doing good.
Yeah, Intern Scully is good.
Can we get some mouth cam for me?
Yeah.
Intern Scully here.
Yeah, Intern Scully is strong.
There we go.
Strong as ever. Thanks for that, Keister.
Thank you, Keister. Look at that beautiful plant. Look at that marvelous aloe.
All right. We've got some haikus to get to a little bit later. But first, it's Tuesday, November 13th, 2018. Here's the news.
Amazon finally announced the winner of its so-called HQ2 contest, a bid to get American cities to secretly offer huge subsidies to host the company's second headquarters. It turns out the winner is actually two winners, Long Island City in Queens, New York, and Crystal City in Arlington, Virginia, a suburb of Washington, D.C. As expected, the only real winner is Amazon's CEO, Jeff Bezos, and other company shareholders. The Long Island facility is being built with a staggering $1.5 billion in subsidies via tax incentives and other benefits. The Crystal City hub, meanwhile, is expected to receive $573 million in public support. You can expect the real number to actually be way higher than that. Those figures come from Amazon itself. Virginia Tech also announced today it would be spending an additional $1 billion for a new campus near the Crystal City hub. That's according to State Delegate Lee Carter, as he pointed out on Twitter. Each HQ2 site is expected to attract 25,000 workers with an average salary of $150,000. If the tech industry experience of Seattle and Northern California is any indication, that means most jobs will go to people outside of the community, and already high housing costs are about to go through the roof, and many will be unable to cope. Queens currently ranks 20th in American cities with the highest average rent. Arlington ranks 24th. That's according to Investors Business Daily. Amazon HQ2 means both are about to become even less affordable. The pace of gentrification and the displacement of poor people, primarily people of color, will almost certainly increase rapidly, very rapidly, in both New York City in the DC area. Since Amazon announced its HQ2 competition late last year, one of the more disgusting aspects has been the secrecy, and true to form, the full details of the giveaway will still remain hidden from the public despite today's announcement. As noted on Twitter today by Slate Scoop's Ben Fried, Virginia will give Amazon a heads up whenever it receives a FOIA request about HQ2, quote, to allow the company to seek a protective order or other appropriate remedy. Look, this isn't that special in terms of a non-disclosure clause, I don't think.
Yeah, it's pretty common with big companies,
but it's
and
still
municipalities.
It's still so fucking gross.
Yeah,
Amazon is garbage.
Completely egregious.
I am praying that somehow this HQ2 stuff just doesn't go down.
Me too.
We don't want it in our community.
No, it's awful, but sometimes I marvel at how brazen corporate power, how corporations wield power in this country. They're pretty much getting a city renamed.
Crystal City.
Crystal City to National Landing to attract them, and all this money, and all this data. I mean, they really are. They're in power here, folks. You don't need to go to secret Bilderberg conventions to see who's running the world. It's all out in the open. It's all deals that are out in the open. And you can FOIA
well, sort of out in the open.
You can't FOIA this stuff now, or at least the company gets a heads up when you're going to try.
The basic contours are out in the open. The gritty details, which could actually sink this fucking deal, they're hidden.
All right, moving on. Now a story about failing up. The Senate Judiciary Committee today considered the nomination of Paul Mady to the Third Circuit.
Arr.
Yes, there's Paul Mady. Arg, Mady.
Scooped your jokes. Sorry.
Yes, that's all right. Mady has the stellar record of being counsel to the offices of New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
Oh, hell yeah.
An administration notorious for scandal. Absolutely filled to the brim with scandal, the Christie administration. Mady worked for Christie between 2010 and 2015, rising to deputy chief counsel for the governor, and Mady's conveniently unaware of any of the many scandals, starting with Bridgegate.
Given that criminal conduct was taking place at the highest level of the Christie administration, do you believe you provided sufficient legal advice?
Senator, two responses. First, I think it's important to make clear for the record that I had no knowledge, involvement, or participation in any of those events.
So you accept no responsibility for these ethical lapses?
Certainly, Senator. I think the events that were ultimately the subject of a federal inquiry, a federal criminal prosecution, and convictions that are now pending before the Third Circuit was an appropriate response to difficult conduct.
Difficult conduct there. Mady was also pressed on his knowledge of a scandal involving the misuse of Hurricane Sandy relief funds by the governor's office. The money was diverted to shoot a campaign ad, but of course Mady denied any knowledge of that. Also, he's the good kind of lawyer for a corrupt Republican administration. He's just like, what relief funds being misused? I didn't see anything. To push the nomination ahead, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley is waiving blue slip traditions, which normally require a judge's home state senator to sign off on the nominee before the committee considers the nomination. Neither New Jersey Senator Cory Booker nor Bob Menendez have granted their approval for Mady. Grassley said during the hearing, quote, the New Jersey senators declined to return their blue slips for political or ideological reasons, and I don't consider that a valid reason not to have this hearing. Booker, meanwhile, countered by saying that the White House refused to even set up a meeting between himself and the nominee. All right, time to take a quick break now. That's the haiku music. The time of the show where we write and read poetry for all our new subscribers on Patreon. Patreon.com/District Sentinel. Guess I'll go ahead and go first. This one goes out to Tyler. My sources tell me Trump refuses to accept peas stored in the balls.
Thank you, Tyler.
What a scandal.
Living in a post-fact world.
Yep.
Next and finally, because we only have 2 haikus today, this is for Carter. Chief of Staff Kelly, more like Chief of Staff Smelly. John Bolton sucks too.
Great haiku. Thank you, Carter. Thank you to all our new subscribers on Patreon. That's patreon.com/District Sentinel. Slow fade on the haiku music here.
You're going in off the break. A lot of reading for you. I can talk for the next 10 to 15 seconds if you'd like a breath.
No, I think I can handle it from here. Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Lots of action today on Capitol Hill as the lame duck session kicks off, and newly elected members are roaming around the halls. They haven't been sworn in. They're not official members yet, but they're attending orientations and stuff like that. And in the case of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, participating in protests in the Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi's office. AOC joined activists with the Sunrise Movement to demand passage of a Green New Deal. Let me take off the haiku bumper there. We're not doing haikus anymore. Anyways, they demanded passage of a Green New Deal in the new Congress. The legislation would put people to work rebuilding the nation's energy infrastructure to achieve complete carbon reduction down to 0. Other incoming progressive members of Congress, like Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, also met with protesters. Pelosi responded, welcoming the actions, and of course, in the most DC thing ever, proposed a committee to solve the problem, saying, I have recommended to my House Democratic colleagues that we reinstate the select committee to address the climate crisis.
Well, it was successful last time, so let's do it. Let's get the band back together.
Anyways, while the new faces were challenging leadership, trying to drag the party left, the older progressive institutions in Congress, like the Progressive Caucus, were retreating on Tuesday. During a caucus press conference, lawmakers were asked if they would demand passage of legislation to abolish ICE, which has become a rallying call on the left, including among some of the new blood in the Democratic Party, like Ocasio-Cortez. Rep. Mark Pocan told reporters that abolishing ICE would be deprioritized now, with them in power. He said, I think our main goal of getting out of the gate is going to be the issues we ran on across all districts around healthcare, around good paying jobs, around dealing with the culture of corruption, is what Pocan said. Why not both? Pocan.
ICE is pretty fucking corrupt.
Yeah.
As a user of the for-profit prison industry.
Absolutely. Pocan infamously introduced legislation to abolish ICE earlier this year, and when Republicans brought it to the floor to bait Democrats into voting for the bill, Pocan voted against it.
Boom. You just don't understand how Washington works.
Rep. Pramila Jayapal actually was offended at the idea of Democrats pushing to abolish ICE. Speaking to CBS News, she said, quote, ICE is the agency that is not accountable, humane, and transparent and effective. So I think that this agency as it exists is not doing a good job for us. That doesn't mean we are getting rid of enforcement overall. And I just think there's a real distinction between abolishing an agency and abolishing the function. And it would be great for people to just think about that. Well, don't think about it for too long, or else you'll realize that it's bullshit. Defending the existence of an agency that Rep. Jayapal herself admits is, quote, not accountable, humane, transparent, nor effective. Again, if ICE were a person, it would barely be able to buy a pack of cigarettes. It's so new. It's pretty easy to envision a world without it. Democrats have the House now. They just have to prioritize it.
Wasn't Rick Scott roaming the halls of Congress? Isn't he showing up to the orientation, even though the Florida Senate is still up for the Florida Senate seat is still up for grabs officially?
Yeah, as Jeb Bush said like 16 years ago, they're making sure to deliver Florida.
Well, finally, some news about dirty tricks considered by the CIA after 9/11. The agency debated once again trying to administer a drug as a truth serum. During the Cold War, the CIA thought it could use LSD to elicit truthful responses during interrogations, something it infamously tried during the MK-Ultra mind control experiments. In the War on Terror, the agency thought it could do the same thing, only successfully this time, with an anti-anxiety medication called Versed. Ultimately, CIA officials decided against it. They cited legal quandaries, bans on medical experiments and experiments using mind-altering drugs on prisoners during interrogations. In early 2003, intelligence officials mercifully jettisoned the idea of asking the Justice Department for permission. The revelations came today as a judge ordered the CIA to release information about the program to the American Civil Liberties Union. The agency also provided its 90-page report on the initiative to the Associated Press.
That'll do it for the newscast today. Before we go, though, see that the rant line is blinking, so let's see what the callers have to say.
Hey, fellas. To summarize my meandering message from last week, most of us on the left down here in Florida agree that Gillum lost because he pivoted to the right during the general, palling around with the likes of HRC and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. He inspired 500,000 more people to vote during the primary, but as he pivoted to the right during the general, many decided not to vote for yet another neoliberal. Keep up the good work, fellas. I'll talk to you later.
There's some analysis on the Florida race from Keister, which actually isn't over yet. Gillum might end up prevailing. There is a recount underway there. I also don't want to downplay the effect of voter suppression in that race and just standard racism that we see at work.
No, but I would also be interested in exploring the hypothesis raised by Keister just there, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, fellas.
Actually, that was Keister again. It appears I have lost the other call. I'll play it on tomorrow's show right there. Slight error by me. What's going on in the chat room, Sam Knight?
A lot of people are upset about Bezos and the Amazon HQ2 stuff.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of people are upset about that. Luke says, I can't help but call this my own type of migrant caravan. Like there's going to be 25,000 people moving here. Let's put the NYPD to good use for a change and not let Bezos release the Citigroup building. And yeah, I mean, it's like, this is fucked up. I mean, it's class displacement. It's so whack. Joseph says, glad that Baltimore is far away from Nova, Northern Virginia, that I won't have to deal with too much of the Amazon BS. Congrats. That's pretty dope. Transit Nomad says, I'm glad I'm Orange Line. Enjoy that blue-yellow mess. Don't think you're going to be far away enough, Transit Nomad, from the Northern Virginia mess.
Yeah, you're going to get fucked too.
And all the side effects. Bobby says, yeah, sorry that Amazon is coming to your town. Like NYC and Nova really have the apparatus to withstand another 70,000 tech bros. I-95 is going to be worse than ever. Transit Nomad says, dudes running in groups with whistles like they own the street. Bird scooter hell. Kevin talking about interns suck.
I see we got Luke here saying that he doesn't understand how Mady ties into Bridgegate. He was the chief counsel or deputy chief counsel to Chris Christie during Bridgegate and as well as these other scandals. So maybe he did know about it, but I think it speaks to the guy who's in charge of ethics and stuff in the office, legal ethics.
Yeah.
And the administration is just committing all these scandals.
Then we get Luke pointing out this about HQ2. This is where electoral politics failed us. Why does someone like fucking Cuomo get to budget these things? Yeah, why?
And why can't people vote on this shit?
I mean, we were talking about this before we went on the air. It's so anti-democratic. Like, this is the type of shit that makes systems break down.
Yeah.
And make people feel like they have no choice and they can't control anything. And the elites are going to get what they want and everything's just fucking inevitable and set in the stars anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
People were also asking about the haiku music. Where's that from?
I think it's just some standard music from
free music.
Yeah.
Don't sue us.com.
From iMovie.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and wind up. Let's one last comment from Ivan, who is noticing. Actually, sorry, Kevin, who's noticing that your Argyle sweaters are powerful, Sam Knight.
I also laughed at a comment in the chat for the first time. Someone was making a joke of it. Joe R. says Senator Leahy doesn't know where he is. He thinks he's ordering breakfast at Denny's, which is a little mean, but I still laughed.
All right, call the rant line 202-684-6108. Thank you to our sponsors, the Congressional Dish podcast hosted by Jen Briney. Find it at congressionaldish.com. Another sponsor, levelnews.org. And thank you for subscribing and for listening and watching and for participating today. We'll be back tomorrow for the newscast. We're here in D.C. so that you don't have to be.